By a show of hands, how many of you would say that the internet plays a very large role in your day-to-day life? That should be basically everybody, because in 2017, if you don't have any capacity to get to the internet, it's going to be really hard to get a good job, get a good education, to even do basic necessities like your chores, like paying taxes and bills. The internet undoubtedly is probably one of the greatest inventions that man has ever created. Arguably even probably the best invention ever created. So that leads me to my next question. What makes the internet great? We know that the internet is great. It's obvious that it's great. I mean, it couldn't be this level of stature without it being great. So think about it. What is it that makes the internet actually so great?
You know, the word is smarter.
Mark, what do you think the internet? What to you? What aspects of the internet make it great?
Well, I work over the internet, but it just informs you of anything you need to know.
Informs you. Kenji.
You can choose what you want to see.
Choose what you want to see. Ranjit.
It's there pretty much 24 hours a day. Anywhere you are, you can access it.
Awesome. And John, what about the internet?
This is a bad thing. I think it concentrates power into a few hands like Amazon and Uber and Google.
All right. So obviously, there's many different points that all constitute what makes the internet great. Obviously, there's not one answer that makes the internet great. It's a group of things. But I mean, it could be anything from watching cat videos, you know, or I personally love watching educational videos on YouTube. It's been one of the best benefits to me. Things like Blinkist, you know, the app that hooks up to the internet, Audible itself. But if you really think about it, let's delve a little deeper. What causes those aspects of the internet to be great? 2 words. Net neutrality. I'm sure everyone has heard this term at some point because it's sort of in the news a little bit, and we heard it back a couple years back. Does anyone here know what net neutrality means? Mark, what is it?
I'm in the business,
Sure.
so it's pretty complicated, but what it means is equal access for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So in other words, it's the basic concept that all internet traffic should be treated equally by internet service providers, or ISPs. So for example, AT&T can't charge you more because you prefer to watch your videos on Pornhub rather than watching or reading fan fiction erotica of 50 Shades of Grey. So in other words, video, text, article, tweet, it all has to be treated the same. A bit is a bit, doesn't matter where it comes from. Now, you may be thinking, okay, obviously this is a good thing. Why does this matter? Well, if you're on the internet, like everyone in here is, this has everything to do with you. On December 12th, in just a few weeks, Donald Trump's newly elected FCC commissioner, Ai-jen Pei, has now basically decided to repeal Obama's net neutrality bill from 2015. And he's basically going to destroy regulation for all internet service providers and destroy net neutrality. Now, what does this mean? Well, let's take a look at what a post-net neutrality destruction kind of internet looks like. So, let's say you get a new internet service provider. Your typical shitty provider, you know, let's be honest, they're all pretty bad. Let's just make one up. I don't know any real ones, so let's just make one up. Let's call it Comcast, for instance. So let's say you get Comcast as your shitty internet service provider, and all of a sudden you are watching Orange is the New Black on Netflix, as one does, and you're enjoying your show. Then all of a sudden, traffic speeds start to stop, and you get that loading ring. You're paying the premium package, and yet it's not working. But then you go to, so you get frustrated and you go to Hulu, and all of a sudden it's working just normal. What's the deal here? If this seems like some sort of bias or weird kind of favoring, that's because this actually happened back in 2013. During a negotiation with Netflix and Comcast, Comcast wanted Netflix to pay more money because they account for 30% of the bandwidth of all the internet in the United States. So during the month of January in 2014, all the internet speeds went down for Netflix. So basically, if that doesn't sound like a mafia shakedown, I don't know what is. So this is obviously a complete disproportionate use of power. So kind of looking back at what happened in 2014, when Obama passed a bill that made it so that all ISPs had to treat the internet equally, they put internet service providers under what's known as Title II. They recategorized them as a public utility, sort of like an electric company or a water company. I mean, think about it this way. What if your electric company decided to charge you an extra $10 fee because you use your microwave? You have to, so you get, for your basic flat fee of $30, you get the lights, but you need to pay $35 if you want to get the microwave energy, and then an extra $5 if you want your television energy. That is exactly how internet service providers will treat the destruction of net neutrality. Where just your base, you'll have an entirely mess of different packages and how they can package and charge you on what you're using your internet for. I mean, don't you find it kind of funny that there's only like 1 or 2 internet service providers in any city in the United States that you go to? Sometimes even 1. 68% of Americans only have 1 choice. This destroys competition. How if you can be upset with your internet service provider, but if you don't have anywhere else to go to, you're basically under the mercy of these internet service providers. So, what do we do about this? Contact your senators. Tell your congressmen. And there's an easy way to do this. If you go to the website battleforthenet.com, you can literally plug in your phone number and it will send you a quick short speech, word for word what you should say, and will connect you in one series of connecting calls to all of your local senators by plugging in your zip code. And then you can tell them exactly on that script saying that you are for net neutrality and you want Agitprop to scrap the whole project. If you don't do this, the internet as we know it could legitimately die and be in the hands of exactly what John said, a few small companies. So go to battleforthenet.com. Thank you.
Okay.